What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we're going to be checking out a very strong team with Chesnaught, Bastiodon, and Galarian Stunfisk. Now the Galarian Stunfisk is used as a safe swap if you lose lead, and the goal of this team is basically either to win lead and then hard lock down with our backline, or if you lose lead, safe swap to the Galarian Stunfisk and draw out the hardest counter to Bastiodon and let Bastiodon really carry the rest of the game. Now if you don't have a Chesnaught, you can also use Pelipper, Venusaur, or Medicham there on the lead. All of those work really well, but a Bastiodon, Galarian Stunfisk in the back is incredibly hard to deal with. So let me know what you guys think about this team and these battles, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, getting into the first battle here, we have Chesnaught on the lead versus Galvantula. Not the best of matchups for us, but what's great is we have Pokemon in the back that can soak the charge move. So what we're going to do is swap into Galarian Stunfisk here on the charge move, because we are going to be resisting both the discharge and the lunge right here, which is really nice. Now again, we're going to be drawing out the hardest counter to that Bastiodon. In this case, it's going to be the Swampert right here. So we're not going to give up any shields in this situation. Our goal is, again, to sweep endgame with Bastiodon, because this might be the only counter to a Bastiodon and Galarian Stunfisk. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Earthquake right here. This is going to do quite a bit of neutral damage, but not as much because Lunge did lower our attack, and we're going to go ahead and let them farm us down. Now, Chesnaught can come in and safely farm down right here, but we will have to commit one shield, right? We don't want a Sludge Wave to hit us, which would do super effective damage. So we're going to go ahead and shield right here, and then we're going to commit to that farm down and have a lot of loaded energy for that Galvantula that is likely going to be coming back in. Now we get a bit of lag, but the Swampert does go down. Alright, so we'll probably see Galvantula come back in, which we do. So we're going to go ahead and throw a superpower. They've done 2 Volt switches already, so this superpower should be getting a shield from our opponent. It's going to do quite a bit of resisted damage, and then we're going to go ahead and swap now into Bastiodon on the next charge move. This is really great. Galvantula is very predictable. It's 3 fast moves or 3 Volt switches in order to do lunge or discharge, and they're not swapping out, which tells me that their backline is extremely weak to Bastiodon. And what you guys are going to see is that is actually the case, which is great about this team. You're going to draw out the hardest counter, and they have a Skarmory in the back. So you guys know this is basically going to be a good game. That Galarian Stunfisk drew out that Swampert, or draws out the Fighter, or draws out the Azumarill, and Bastiodon can really put in a lot of work end game. Now this doesn't mean that it's going to work against every team, right? But a lot of the times it works, especially when people run these lineups of like a Galvantula, Skarmory, and Swampert. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and build up some more energy, let them throw this next charge move. Bastiodon is our win condition right now, so we're going to go ahead and just not shield the Sky Attack. We're going to swap into the Chesnaught right here, and this is why Superpower on a Chesnaught is so deadly, everyone. It does neutral damage to a Skarmory, and a lot at that. So we're going to go ahead and take out the Skarmory right there, and then the Galvantula is going to come back in, and we're going to go ahead and go for another Superpower. We still have Bastiodon with energy and health and a shield, and we take out the Galvantula, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving into this next battle. Let's see how this one goes. And you guys may be wondering, what the heck do I do to a Medicham? Well, we're going to find out right now. So we have Chesnaught on the lead here versus Medicham. This is our worst nightmare. Medicham is the counter to this team. So we have to deal with it as best as we can on the lead. Now my opponent is building up a lot of energy, or not a lot of energy. They're building up to Power Up Punch. So I'm going to go ahead and let this go. It's not an Ice Punch, and it's not a Psychic, so I don't need to shield. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw these energy balls right here. Superpower would do resisted damage, right? That Psychic typing there on Medicham. So you want to throw these energy balls for neutral damage, and we do get a shield and a defense drop, which is amazing. Again, they're throwing the charge move right away, so I'm not going to shield, but things are not looking good, right? This Medicham is shielding, it's gaining or increasing its attack power, and it can destroy my backline, right? Which is tough. So we're going to throw this next energy ball right here, hoping to get the final shield or take it out. We do get the shield, so now we have to swap into Galarian Stunfisk right away. And rightfully so, they are staying in. So I'm going to have to start committing shields now to these power-up punches, because it's going to do way too much damage, and hopefully I can get to an Earthquake in time. They decide to stay in, and I do get to the Earthquake. This is going to be taking out the Medicham, and again, this may be the only counter to Bastiodon and Galarian Stunfisk that they have, but no, they have a Meganium. I'm like, Oh, man. This is not good. Meganium is also a great core breaker for this team. Frenzy Plant does a lot of neutral damage, and then the Earthquake is nice as well, but the Chesnaught can do pretty well against it because it's going to be resisting both of those moves. Now, it's going to be going for Frenzy Plant right here to take out Galarian Stunfisk. I'm going to bring in the Chesnaught thinking I can get to a superpower. That's kind of my goal. So I bring in the Chesnaught and quickly realize that I cannot. So I have to swap right away into Bastiodon and save my Chesnaught because I potentially could use it as a shield later on. Now I will have to shield this potential Earthquake right here. It was just a Frenzy Plant, and they decide to swap into a Bastiodon Mirror. So things are not over, everyone. Things are not over. In this matchup, you want to be going for Flamethrower. It does neutral damage to Bastiodon. But I have a potential win condition now, and that's going to be overloading my charge moves here so that I can get a Flamethrower off on that Meganium and look to take out Bastiodon in the mirror. But I'm going to have to use Chesnaught as a sacrificial swap, which is why I saved it. As you guys can see, the switch clock is coming back up, so I'm going to go ahead and overload on energy right here, and then go ahead and throw my Flamethrower. They are basically one fast move away from Flamethrower. It's going to be 7 Smackdowns, so they're at 6. So they're going to go ahead and do 1, and I'm going to swap to Chesnaught, and we catch the charge move. This is huge for us in this matchup. We can soak that on the Chesnaught. Meganium is basically out of energy, and we need to overcharge because I'm guessing they're going to try to swap into Meganium at some point, and I need to have enough energy saved up from farming this Bastiodon in order to take out Meganium as well. So another charge move going to be coming through, not enough to take us out. We're going to build up his max energy, 100 energy right here. We're going to go ahead and throw this Flamethrower. This is going to be enough to take out the Bastiodon, and then it's going to be a race to the charge move to take out the Meganium right here, and we do get to it in time after 2 Smackdowns, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. So Medicham is a hard counter to this team. It's very tough to deal with, but you can sometimes handle it like I did right here. So good game to my opponent, and let's go ahead and move into this next battle. We have Chesnaught on the lead versus Galvantula again. I saw Galvantula quite a few times with this team, so we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing. Let count to 3, swap to Galarian Stunfisk. After 3, they throw the charge move every single time. So we catch it right here, catch that lunge for resisted damage, and they do bring in Azumarill this time, which is great. Again, another Pokemon that can beat Galarian Stunfisk and Bastiodon because of the bubbles and Hydro Pumps, right? But also we can farm down with the Chesnaught because of Vine Whip. So we throw the Earthquake right there for neutral damage, which is great, and then they're going to go ahead and throw a charge move. This is most likely going to be Hydro Pump. Again, we're not shielding in this situation, and it was Hydro Pump. So we're going to go ahead and let the timer go down, and then we're going to bring in the Chesnaught right here. Overload on energy, and we're going to be counting the bubbles. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. We're going to throw Energy Ball now. We don't want them to throw an Ice Beam at us and us have to waste a shield. So we go ahead and throw the Energy Ball, and they decided to let it go, which is fine. We now have a lot of loaded energy, but Skarmory comes in this time. So again, another Galvantula Skarmory team. We're going to go ahead and throw Superpower. We saw how much damage it can do. It's neutral to a Skarmory. We get a shield, and now we swap into Bastiodon with 2 shields, and that is game over. I saw this team a lot. Maybe a fellow content creator made a post about this team or something, but I saw this team a lot, and I ran it the exact same way every single time, and it was great. So we go ahead and shield the Discharge. Discharge is going to be the hardest hitting move left in the game. We don't need to worry about Sky Attack, Brave Bird, or Flash Cannon. We farm down the Galvantula, and that is basically going to be a good game. Bastiodon is an absolute wall to a Skarmory. Skarmory cannot take this thing down. So we're going to go ahead and throw a Flamethrower. They decided to shield. I'm like, okay. You really want to drag this game out? I'll do it. I'll go ahead and not shield myself because I don't really need to. And what we're going to do, yeah, as you guys see, Flash Cannon does a decent amount of neutral damage, but we're going to go ahead and throw this Flamethrower right here. This is going to do super effective damage, but not enough to take out Skarmory. And then we're going to swap into that Chesnaught and go for that superpower right here to close this game out, and that'll be a good battle, very well played. So again, with those Galvantula leads, you guys want to be swapping to catch those charge moves when you can. All right. We have Chesnaught on the lead versus Registeel. All right, so a pretty positive lead for us. That's what's great about Chesnaught. With Vine Whip, Superpower, and Energy Ball, you can handle Registeel, Azumarill, Galarian Stunfisk. It's a great counter to a lot of core teams that we do see. Now, we do need to start shielding against this Registeel right here. Flash Cannon and Focus Blast would do quite a bit of damage, but they do decide to swap out into Cresselia. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in Bastiodon right here. Bastiodon is going to be my best bet in this matchup because it can just tank a lot of the charge moves and do neutral damage right back, and they went for Moonblast, which is not the right call. So I'm guessing this Cresselia doesn't have Grass Knot. I'm guessing maybe it's Future Sight, or maybe it's just a pure Moonblast, but we'll have to see. But in this matchup, you guys want to be going for Grass Knot. And they also didn't shield right there, which means I can definitely win this matchup by farming down. So I'm not going to shield anything. Bastiodon can do really well, and they do have Grass Knot. So that's just a lesson learned from this trainer, and a lesson learned for you as well. If you're running Cresselia, Grass Knot does neutral to Bastiodon. You want to be using that right here. And as you can see, the Cresselia can spam it, but it's just not going to be enough damage. Now they swap into Azumarill, which is fine. I can go ahead and bring in the Chesnaught and throw superpowers right here, energy balls right here, not superpower. The energy ball will be doing super effective damage, and we get a shield as well. We still have Galarian Stunfisk for that Registeel too, so things are looking really, really good for us. We're throwing, again, another energy ball. We probably won't get a shield on this one, so they do let it go. And then we're not going to shield ourselves. This is just going to be an Ice Beam, and we can actually survive it and commit to the farm down. So Ice Beam is not going to be enough to take us out. It still does a lot of damage, but Vine Whips are going to be enough to take down the Azumarill, and now we have a charge move ready to go for the Cresselia that is likely coming back in. So we're going to have to throw this superpower right here, and now there's just a Registeel in the back with a Bastiodon and a Galarian Stunfisk to deal with, but they did get to farm down my Chesnaught, which is unfortunate. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in Galarian Stunfisk right here. We're going to go straight for an Earthquake, and then I am going to shield. In hindsight, I don't need to shield this one. If it is Focus Blast, so be it, but they're likely going for a shield bait with that Flash Cannon, and all I need to do is throw this Earthquake right here. Focus Blast doesn't one-shot Galarian Stunfisk, which is why I said that. So Earthquake should be taking out the Registeel or getting a shield. We get the shield, so we're going to go ahead and swap to Bastiodon, throw this Flamethrower right here, and force them to use their energy on Bastiodon as well, and Galarian Stunfisk can close out this game for us, but they do decide to surrender right there, and that'll be a good battle. Very well played. Moving into this next one, we have Chesnaught on the lead versus Shadow Hypno. This is not good. Shadow Hypno is very strong against Chesnaught. So we have to swap right away into the Galarian Stunfisk right here, start getting ahead on energy, and they do bring in an Umbreon, which is really unfortunate. I know what team this is. If you guys know as well, it's going to be Shadow Hypno, Scrafty, and Umbreon. One of the first teams that I tried this season. It's very, very strong. Now I need to try to be landing Earthquakes right here, not giving up shields as well. So what I should be doing right now, since I landed an Earthquake, is be going for Rock Slides for that neutral damage. But I make a mistake and go for an Earthquake right here. They will likely be shielding this. They want to maintain that positive switch advantage, and they do. I should be going for Rock Slides now that I landed one Earthquake and flip this matchup, because if I have Chesnaught versus Scrafty and Bastiodon versus Hypno, we are looking very, very good. But I decided to go for shield advantage instead of switch advantage. So I'm going to go ahead and go for another Earthquake right here. This is going to do neutral damage to the Umbreon, and hopefully enough to take it out. Ooh, barely not enough, and I decide not to shield as well. I'm thinking, you know what, maybe if I come in with Chesnaught and overload on energy, this can actually be my win condition right here. This is how I decided to play this. So we're going to go ahead and farm down. They are throwing a charge move. I'm going to let it go. I think it could be a last resort, but okay, and it's actually just going to be a foul play, which is perfect. We resist that. Then we farm down. We are going to see the Hypno come back in, so we're going to go ahead and go for the energy ball right here, which will do neutral damage, and then we're going to have to swap right away into Bastiodon. But the sad thing is I know there's a Scrafty in the back, which is so unfortunate. So we swap into Bastiodon. Here comes that Scrafty, and this thing just needs to throw power-up punches, build up, and just farm down my Chesnaught. So it's really unfortunate right here. Player made a great play, but I should have been going for those Rock Slides and one switch because I read the team pretty hard. Now, game's not over yet. Don't think it's over. It's not over until it's over. So we're going to go ahead and throw this Flamethrower right here for neutral damage. My hope is that I can actually get enough energy to take out Hypno as well. So we'll have to see. We decide to bring in Chesnaught right here. I'm going to go ahead and let this go through. It is just a power-up punch, which is fine. And now I'm going to see, you know what, maybe I could farm down. We get a bit of lag right here, which is unfortunate. I'm like, gosh, I don't know how much energy they have. Maybe I'm missing fast attacks. I don't know, but now I have to start shielding. So what I'm hoping to do is farmed down. But the thing is, with every power-up punch, counter gets harder and harder, and I'm trying to commit, and I pull the trigger at the last second because I knew I wouldn't have made it. But if I would have made it, I could have double super-powered Hypno potentially. But this is going to be a good game to my opponent right there. They read my team very well, and I read theirs, but I played it wrong, which is okay. It's a very, very strong team, so good game to my opponent. Moving into this next battle here, we have Chesnaught on the lead versus Galvantula. Again, I'm kidding you. I'm not kidding you. I saw this thing so many times. So we're going to do the exact same thing. These are completely different trainers. We're going to go ahead and swap into Galarian Stunfisk on the charge move, catch that lunge. Like all the other times we did before, we'll have to see what comes in this time. They're deciding to stay in, okay? But they bring in an Azumarill now. Okay, so I'm guessing it's going to be Skarmory again in the back, so our win condition is again with Bastiodon. And this is not the same battle. This is not duplicate battles. These are different trainers with the exact same team, which is why I'm saying I'm curious to see who made this team. Because it's obviously very strong, but my team hard counters it when you can catch those charge moves. So we're going to go ahead and let this charge move go through. It's just an Ice Beam, which is unfortunate because I was really hoping they'd take us out, but now they can farm us down, which means I'll have to shield on Chesnaught. But I can get off another Earthquake here, and we do get a shield, which is actually pretty nice. Now, we're going to go ahead and let them throw this energy. That's fine. Our goal, again, they actually decided to throw. I thought they were going to commit to the farm down right there, but Ice Beam does take us out. So we're going to go ahead and bring in the Chesnaught right here, overload on energy, and they decide to swap to Skarmory. I'm like, okay, here comes the Skarmory. It's game over. You guys know that it's game over right here, and this is, again, the third time I faced this exact team. We saw Swampert and 2 Azumarills now, so I'm really curious who made this team. But good game to my opponent. But this strategy of Bastiodon, Galarian Stunfisk in the back is incredibly strong, incredibly tough to deal with. And like I said, you guys don't have to have Chesnaught on the lead. What you need is Core Breaker on the lead. So you could have Venusaur, which is another great Core Breaker. You could have Pelipper. You could have Medicham XL or just Medicham. And you could have Chesnaught. All 4 of those are very strong paired with Bastiodon and Galarian Stunfisk in the back. So we're just going to go ahead and not shield, just farm down this Skarmory, and the Galvantula will go down as well. Just kind of dragging this thing out right here. So yeah, we're just going to commit to the farm down. They decide to bring in the Azumarill right here, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and throw Stone Edge. Not too worried. This is going to do quite a bit of neutral damage. We get a shield, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in Chesnaught right here, save the Bastiodon and the shields, throw this Energy Ball right here to take out the Azumarill, and then we will see the Skarmory probably come back in, which is going to go down right away to Superpower, and then we'll see the Galvantula come back in, and then Bastiodon can take that out. So Superpower does a lot of neutral damage, takes out the Skarmory, and then Galvantula comes back in, and this is basically going to be a good game. I'm going to go ahead and just throw this Superpower right here, just to get that added chip damage that we can before we go down to fast moves, because our defense has fallen so much. As you guys can see, that's a lot of resisted damage right there. We're going to go ahead and let this charge move go through. They probably should have just committed to the farm down, but Bastiodon with 2 shields is a game over anyways. So well played to my opponent, but this backline is incredibly tough to deal with if you don't have the hard counters for it. All right, moving into this next battle, we have Chesnaught on the lead versus Drifblim. Yikes, this is a bad lead for us. So what we're going to do is same thing as Galvantula. I'm going to count to 4 because that's what they're likely going to be throwing the charge move on, which they do, which is going to be Icy Wind. So we catch it here on Galarian Stunfisk. So far, so good. We catch the Icy Wind, but they bring in a Medicham. This is game over. This right here is the hardest counter to this whole team, is a Medicham hiding in the back, because all it needs to do is throw power-up punches, shield, and farm me down, and it is not good. So we're going to go ahead and go for Earthquake right here. This is going to do neutral damage, but not as much because of that lunge. We land it as well, which is definitely not good, because that means it can save its shields for energy balls, which is, this is not good. So we're going to go ahead and bring in the Chesnaught right here. We have some energy, so we're going to go ahead and throw the energy ball. And I'm hoping they decide to actually just let this go. Please just let this go. They don't. They decide to shield. And this is not looking good. I'm going to have to start shielding myself. I don't know how much energy they have, but it is going to be another power-up punch. Maybe I could have saved the shield right there. But I have to take this Medicham out with Chesnaught. I'm going to have to shield again, which is unfortunate. And it's another power-up punch. This is not good. I'm like, please, just Medicham, just go down. They throw another power-up punch right here. I'm like, okay, they're not going to shield. They're going to let this power-up punch. They're going to let this superpower go through, but I actually go down before I could throw it. And now Bastiodon is going to come in. This is why I said XL Medicham just destroys this team. Good game to my opponent, but Medicham in the back is a hard counter to this team, which you guys will probably run into. It's very, very tough to deal with. So we're going to go ahead and just let Bastiodon go down. Good game, Medicham. It was a 1v3 right there. All right. Moving into this next battle. We have Chesnaught on the lead versus Azumarill. Very positive matchup for us. We do have to watch out for Ice Beam and Play Rough, but we'll see what they decide to do. Now, they swap into Shiny Hitmonchan. What a flex. Now, we cannot swap out of this fight, right? We have to use Chesnaught to take it out, and they have Ice Punch, which is unfortunate. So what we need to do first is go for Energy Ball. I cannot lower my defenses just yet, but we need to get a shield right here. So we do get a shield, and now we're going to need to go for double superpowers in order to take out Hitmonchan right here. We have to shield. Again, this Ice Punch would do super effective damage in the matchup. So we do shield that, and now we go for double superpower right here. This first one will either take out the Hitmonchan or get the shield, and the second one will do the same, right? So we get the shield. Now we take out the Hitmonchan with this superpower, and then we're going to have to swap directly into Galarian Stunfisk right away. Hopefully they don't have another fighter, so we swap right away, and they do have a Hypno in the back. Beautiful. This is actually really ideal because the Chesnaught can take out that Azumarill, and Bastiodon can do a good job against Azumarill as well, especially if they don't have Hydro Pump. Some Azumarills don't run Hydro Pump. You can run Ice Beam and Play Rough if you want to. So we're going to go ahead and just keep throwing these charge moves as quickly as we can. Get this Hypno down because it is going to be the counter to my Chesnaught. I was really worried that was going to be a Focus Blast right there, but we're able to get to another Earthquake in time. They didn't swap out at all, which is perfectly fine with me. This Earthquake will take out the Hypno, and then we will see the Azumarill come back in. It's going to have to throw some energy right here, and we're just going to go for the Rock Slide, actually. I was thinking they're actually very close to a Hydro Pump, so I decided to throw the Rock Slide for any chip damage that I can get. And then try to swap into Bastiodon, but they do decide to throw their energy, and this might actually just be Ice Beam, which it is. So now I'm going to have to bring in Bastiodon. They have a lot of loaded energy, and they could potentially take out my Chesnaught, and I need them to throw the energy when they have... Well, actually, I decided to bring in Chesnaught right here and go for Superpower, actually. So a little different decision. These battles were done yesterday, though, but we throw the Superpower, land it, beautiful, and now we swap into Bastiodon right here and pray they don't have Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump wouldn't KO, but we'll have to see. No, they don't. It's just Ice Beam, which is perfectly fine. That is going to be a good game. Very well played to my opponent. So we have Chesnaught on the lead versus Defense Form Deoxys. Another tough lead to deal with because they could have Psycho Boost, which does do super effective damage. So I decided to swap into Galarian Stunfisk on the potential Psycho Boost before they threw it. And they're not swapping out as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw this Earthquake right away. I want to get shield advantage or get this Deoxys low. We get it low. Perfect. I'm fine with that. They decide to swap into Azumarill now. So we're just going to keep throwing Earthquakes. We need to chunk this Azumarill as much as we can. That Defense Form Deoxys has basically near 100 energy, so I'm guessing double Psycho Boost. So I'm going to have to save basically a shield for Chesnaught versus that. So this is going to be very, very dangerous. I decided to go for Rock Slide as well. Again, any extra chip damage or potential shield that I could grab here before I go down to Azumarill is going to be essential because now we're within potential farm down range with Chesnaught. So we're going to go ahead and let the charge move go through. It's probably just going to be an Ice Beam. Yeah, it is an Ice Beam that takes us out, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and wait for that switch clock. Then we're going to bring in the Chesnaught right here and look to farm down. Now, they are throwing their charge move. We know it's Ice Beam, so we're going to go ahead and shield. And then we're going to be carefully counting their bubbles just in case they get to another Ice Beam. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5. We take it out just as they get Ice Beam. That is huge for us right here. So we are going to see the Defense Form Deoxys come in. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a Superpower right here. It's going to be resisted, but remember, Defense Form Deoxys is extremely low. So we get a shield, and I tried to swap into Bastiodon to catch the charge move. I can't. I'm going to have to shield right here. And they don't have Psycho Boost. They have Rock Slide, which means they're rocking Rock Slide and Thunderbolt, but I swapped to Bastiodon anyways to catch the next charge move and save that energy on the Chesnaught. So Rock Slide is resisted, and we do see that they decide to stay in, and the Deoxys is getting extremely low, but they bring in an Umbreon. which is super ideal right here. Stone Edge is going to be doing neutral. We can bulk and tank a lot of these charge moves, and then we almost have double superpower on Chesnaught. Remember, we had max energy. We threw a superpower, and we're at like 1.5 superpowers right now. So the game is looking very, very winnable for us, even though they have a shield. So hopefully we can get a shield with this next Stone Edge, but we'll have to see what they decide to do. They're going to go ahead and keep throwing their charge moves, which is fine. I'm going to look to throw the Stone Edge. My switch clock is coming back up, so I'm going to go ahead and throw Stone Edge right here. If I get a shield, I'm swapping right away and throwing superpower, but we'll have to see. I don't get a shield, so I'm going to go ahead and try to stay in, but I decide to swap now on the charge move, hoping to catch a foul play. Remember, it's resisted. So we do catch the foul play, which is perfect. The Deoxys tries to come back in, but remember, it had no health, so it went down instantly to the Vine Whip, and now we have double superpower ready to go. This first one will be getting the shield, and the second one will be taking out the Umbreon because it does do super effective damage. Even if this was resisted, say it was like a Hypno or Cresselia, it would still do enough to take it out, and that is going to be a good battle. Very well played to my opponent. And that right there was the battles there with Chesnaught, Bastiodon, and Galarian Stunfisk. So let me know down in the comments what you guys thought about this team and these battles. It's a very meta team, and again, you guys can run it with different leads. Pelipper, Venusaur, Medicham, or Chesnaught. I decided to run with Chesnaught because it's a lot of fun, it's a new Pokemon, etc. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.